waste and things, everyone knows about waste is very simple term and a very common term even. Everyone is facing some trouble, some problem when you are coming from your house to the means you are going to the offices, you are going for any destination, then immediately you have to face some type of waste or garbage here and there in the street, on the roads, or some sides of the road, etc. So when the population increasing, of course, we are at if we are saying discussing about the population of the world, so we are reaching to about approximately 8 billion, and in here in India, more than 145 crores we are. So as population increases, the waste generation increases as, and because the population has some demand. Demand means the demand of product, and those products coming from the industry only, and industrial or urbanization, rapid industrialization increase the pollution as well as the waste also. So we can say this population outburst has number of numerous problems of waste generation and waste disposal management. So in a very important thing is to handle this type of waste generated from the street, generated from the industry, or generated from any corner from where we are living. Here you can see one look of website CPCB, that is the apex body in India, who is dealing with the pollution and waste. Central Pollution Control Board. This is the official website. Here you can find the different type of hazardous waste management or solid waste management regulation, notifications, rules, Air Act, Water Act, or EP Act. What type of act is applicable to the waste or to the pollution? So all the acts, all the type of regulations related to waste or hazardous waste, biomedical waste, plastic waste, e-waste are available. This is the authentic source from where we can procure this type of regulations. And here one snapshot about the rules and regulation related to waste management. These are the link. Here we have provided the links. You can see the waste management in India started date back after EPA. EPA is the Environment Protection Act. And now we are following hazardous waste, or we can say the actually waste management rule of 2016, which was amended in 2016. And but amendments are there, like first amendment in the rule was on 2016, then 17, then 18, 19, 20, even in 20 last month, that is December 2020, was of course about the hazardous waste and also for the biomedical. During Corona pandemic, biomedical waste management also has been rule has been also amended. So number of rules are there. You can see these all the rules, MSW or biomedical waste rule or plastic waste rule or e-waste rule. These rules are under the EPA Act, because rule cannot be individual. It can be under some act, because act provides some regulations, notifications, rule, and code of conduct. So under these are rules under the EPA, Environment Protection Act 1986, and this act was enacted after Bhopal gas disaster. I think you must aware, everyone is aware about Bhopal gas disaster. And after this disaster, EPA Umbrella Act was enacted in 1986, covering all the type of rules and regulation notification related to environment and governing the industry, smooth functioning of industry, by without disposal of we can say the scientific disposal of the waste as well as the pollution in the form of solid, gaseous, or liquid form. Even here you can see one newspaper cutting. It says like CPCB said that coronavirus or any type of virus can spread through the waste or sewage system. Yeah, of course, you are working in the same field, like and this term waste is very generic, very common. Everyone knows about the waste and the different type of waste available here in means here and there, of course, in our surroundings. So one can easily identify what is the waste. Waste is, if we see the by definition, for the industrial purpose, the waste is whatever is not sellable, whatever is not usable. If we can say sometime hazardous waste are there, but they are not waste exactly. They can be hazardous chemical and they can be utilized for a fuel, as a fuel, having high calorific value. That means that a hazardous chemical is not a waste, because they are using as a under co-processing by after taking permission under Rule 9 from CPCB, from the SPCB, and they are using that waste as a RDF or alternative fuel for their means in the kilns or in the means some in the premises. So that cannot be counted as a waste. Waste is the substance which can be discarded, which is not useful or not sellable. If anything is sellable, that cannot be waste. So now we have to define exactly what is the waste. We have to identify what type of waste we have and how we can utilize this. Because nowadays everyone is knows must be aware, I think, about the UN 17 goal of sustainability. Under that, one important thing is recycle, reduce, refuse. Many things are there: 8R, 7R, 5R, 3R. You must aware about all these are. So we have to reuse, reduce, or some part of that. When we are generating the waste, first we have to avoid. If we cannot avoid, then we have to go for the mitigation measure. If mitigation measures are not available, then we have to provide some type of management plan, or that is known as disposal. So the form of waste can be like a liquid, like or solid, or we can say we can categorize into on the basis of physical appearance. This can be solid, liquid, gaseous. But in case of degradability, then we can classify into two, that is biodegradable and non-biodegradable. Sometimes the classification can be changed into hazardous and non-hazardous, depending on the flammability, hazardousness, or toxicity, or reactivity, or corrosivity, or ignitability of that substance. If the substance or material is having any type of property from like ignitability, corrosivity, reactivity, or toxicity, that may be hazardous. Either it may be solid, liquid, or gas, but it may be hazard because due to the property of that is known as hazardous property. If they does not fall under this type of property, then they may as a non-hazardous, and they can be used for some other purposes. So as I said, by the physical basis, we have only three type of. One is the gaseous waste in form of any type of material, fugitive emission, pollutant emission, or pollution from the stack, chimney, we can say, from the industrial establishment. So that can be a waste as a gaseous, or any type of CO2 is of course a greenhouse gas. So that can be means considered as a gaseous waste. And of course, but some type of another waste, like liquid waste. Liquid waste may be like a wastewater from the industry, wastewater from the domestic area, or urban cities, or villages, etc. That is sewage, known as fats, oil, grease, used oil, liquid, solid gases, etc., mixed with the water, and some hazardous household liquid. They can be categorized as liquid waste on the basis of physical appearance. And solid, that means a solid material, any type of solid waste from generated from the our houses, from the industry, from commercial purposes, from the celebrations, from mining activity, or from the agriculture runoff, etc. So that can be treated as a solid waste. So now we'll discuss about exactly what is the solid waste. By the appearance only, we can say that a solid waste, it can, or it has some type of another characteristic, like hazardous or non-hazardous, something like that. I said in the previous one slide that any waste can be classified on the basis of three criteria. One is physical appearance. Second one is the hazardousness, and third one is like on the basis of like when we are going for physical, that is solid or liquid. When we are going for hazardous, that means hazardous waste or non-hazardous waste. And then third one is the biodegradability, that means non-biodegradable or biodegradable. So that can be means solid waste can be hazardous, can be non-hazardous, can be in the form of biodegradable and non-biodegradable. Like plastic waste is not biodegradable. Now we are working on biodegradable plastic. So that can be categorized on the basis of appearance as well as their characteristic. we can say the hazardousness or biodegradability. So landfill sites are having a solid waste, a huge solid waste. Every city, every urban area has this type of issue to dispose this type of domestic waste, or we can say the solid waste in the landfill area. Why? Because population is growing, and also every person by average is generating 250 gram per person per capita in 1 day. Then you can calculate how much waste is to be generated from the country. This is the average only, but you can if we are classifying the urban area and non-urban area, then in urban area it is very slow, means very less waste, but in case of urban area it is huge. So it can be said as the average waste generation is about 250 gram per day per capita from the municipal area or residential area. This is not industrial waste. This is only municipal waste. And classification of municipal waste or solid waste, it can be on the basis of source of generation. Generation means from where it is coming. First, it may be coming from the solid waste, as a solid waste from municipal area. So that can be known as a household waste or municipal waste. And sometime the waste is coming from industrial area, then it can be said as a industrial waste. And industrial waste, as we know, industrial waste may be hazardous, sometime it may not hazardous, but a maximum in 90% waste of generated from the industry is hazardous. And this type of waste may be dangerous to the plants also, animals, and also rivers. And third is the source is the hospital or dispensaries or pharmaceutical company or some R&D sectors, clinic, hospital, etc. So this type of waste generated from those sources, that are known as biomedical waste. So the solid waste can be household, can be industrial, can be biomedical. That means the main source of generation. On the basis of source of generation, we are classifying the waste, that is which is coming from our houses, that is household or as a municipal waste, and which is coming from the industry, that is industrial waste, and which is coming from the hospital, dispensaries, pharmaceutical company, research centers, clinics, etc., that is biomedical waste. So main sources are exactly domestic, as I said in the previous, from our kitchen in the form of glass, plastic, cloth racks, kitchen waste, garden litter, cans, etc. And also sometimes food means some waste food or peels of fruit, vegetables, etc. That can be also a type of waste coming from our houses. Industrial waste, as I said, in the steel industry, or even someone is talking. If any trouble, then you can let us know so we can solve the issue.
On any working day, right?
Hello.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Okay. Oh, thank
Please mute participants.
Participants, please mute yourself.
Please mute yourself.
Thank you very much. So another source is industrial, like mining industry, even from the agriculture, agriculture residues are there. So that is in the form of agriculture waste. Municipal, as I said, from the municipal area, from the cities, urban area, biomedical from the hospitals, nuclear waste from the nuclear machineries, or we can say nuclear power stations. So that can be generated as for the sources. And some other area, like what is the timeline of trash or waste exactly. This means trash has played a tremendous role in the history. This is not a generation of today. This is not generated today only from our means cities or from the houses. It has already started when population is there, a man's are civilized. When we are means living in the rooms, we started living in the houses when that this problem has been started, like plague, cholera, typhoid fevers, etc. They can be, you can read many manuscripts, many articles, are many books are there in ancient India or ancient literature. Then you can find this type of term like plague, cholera, typhoid fever. That can be happen from the only waste. So that means waste is a problem not started today. It started when the people civilized, or people living started living in the homes, or they started depending on the means exploitation of nature. So this problem has been started in even it is the common problem of all whole world, not from our country, not from the neighbor country, etc. So here you can see in the history, if we see the history of waste, waste generation and the disposal of waste, how the management of waste has been started and date back of 6,500 BC in North America. Some archaeological studies has shown that Native Americans in what is they are producing about 5.3 pounds waste by waste per day by in that area. That means it is written in the manuscript in the old ancient literature that in that time also the problem of solid waste or waste has been started, and they have some trouble to dispose of. And also one proof is there that before 500 BC in Greece, first municipal dump was started in Western world, that is organized dump, municipal dump, and regulation required waste to be dumped at least a mile from the city limit. That means they have a type of rule in that city, in the Athens, Greece, where the waste, domestic waste should be dumped at least 1 mile from the city, because they some people who are working on this type of disposal facility, disposal technologies, they come to know that waste has created some type of diseases like plague or typhoid, etc. So they have framed one rule that your waste which is generated from our houses should be dumped at least 1 mile from the city limit. This is not from house, this is from the city limit, where the boundary ended of the city, then you have to go at least 1 mile from that city, then you have to dump. That means one area has been already designated area has been started for municipal waste dumping, that today we are known as landfill site. In 1388 in England, English Parliament bars waste dispersal in public waterways area. You must aware India has now waterways exactly in the same way where highways are running, working. Highways mean the roadway, and waterways is the rivers, etc., are the water body where ships, etc., are working or running. Like in India, we have 111 waterways. That is known as national waterways. We have worked out of that means 3-4 waterways for some studies of EIA and SIA. And in 1400 in Paris, a garbage pile so high outside the Paris gate that it inferred with the city defense. That also a problem during 1400 in France. And when again age of sanitation was reported in England in 1842. So that report is also available online. So one can easily find out, and then they can read. So this I mean to say that the waste is not a problem of today. This problem has started when we will started living in the houses. We started depending on the industry, etc. So this problem has been created. So now some rules are there for waste management and disposal, their treatment and management handling under EPA Act. As I said, EPA is the Environment Protection Act. It was enacted in 1986, and this said as Umbrella Act for environment, exactly because after this act, there is no such act has come till now related to environment. Of course, we have NGT, different type of act which was enacted in 2010, and it is type of court. It has one principal bench and some other benches. So under this EPA, here you can see the plastic waste, the e-waste, and biomedical waste, construction and demolition waste, and hazardous waste. Then sixth number is municipal solid waste. Here a GSR is there. We have given when started this type of rule, draft rule was started in 2011 for plastic waste and finalized in 2016 and amended in 2018. Now it is mandatory to take consent from under EPA Act by all the industry, either they are generating or not. They have to declare their waste, that how much plastic waste is to be generated, or they are manufacturing, or they are generating from the premises. And another one, e-waste, the electronic waste, Electronic waste, exactly the electrical and electronic equipment. So this was started in again in 2011 only under this EPA Act, and GSR has been issued in 2016, that is known as E-Waste Management Rule 2016, amended in 2018 by Ministry of Environment, Environment, Forest and Climate Change, New Delhi. So now this type of information is available on Parivesh portal. Parivesh is a type of portal which is governed or monitored by Government of India, Ministry of Forest, Environment, Climate Change. And full form, it is written here: proactive and responsive facilitation by interactive and virtuous environmental single window hub. That is Parivesh. You can see my cursor here. It is already written Parivesh. The full form is there. Okay. So under this act, all the type of information about the act and rules and management rule for e-waste or plastic waste or biomedical waste, etc., has been already issued under the GSR, and we need to for everyone need to follow. And basically, who are generating this type of waste, like hazardous waste, especially for the industry. So every industry has to take permission, take consent under EPA Act from Pollution Control Board, that is State Pollution Control Board, because CPCB is the apex body in India and headquartered at Arjun Nagar, Delhi. But every state has their State Pollution Control Board, and the State Pollution Control Board is the monitoring agency for all the pollution, like under EPA Act, under Air Act, under Water Act, and different act related to environment. So even this municipal solid waste is also governed by this State Pollution Control Board, but municipal solid waste collection, disposal, and treatment is governed by the municipal bodies in the cities. So they have to follow, they have to collect the waste from door to door, then they have to means dispose at landfill site, or they have to make composting, they have to segregate at first, then they can go for composting, or some different type of methods are there. So on the basis of waste sources, as we have discussed, like solid waste can be generated from household and can be from the commercial institutions or from the industry. So the type of household solid waste, you can see the food waste, animal waste, recyclable or non-recyclable, and street sweeping, biomedical hazardous waste can be. In case food waste like kitchen, leftover, etc., food waste, animal waste, excreta, residual animal feed, and under recyclable like paper, a glass, a plastic, and non-recyclable. See, the term recyclable and biodegradable are different. Recyclable means we can recycle, and biodegradable means we can compost, we can make a compost from it. So degradability and recyclability is different term. Biomedical waste, like we have some medicines, etc., and sometimes people are using a huge bunch of medicine in the house, and some after some time they expired. So that means expired medicine also coming under biomedical. We cannot just mix with the household. That should be separated. And hazardous, like some we are using bulbs, we are using electronic waste, we are using batteries in the remote or somewhere. So that battery, etc., coming under hazardous waste. So current practices are in, like if we go to the any village, then you can see there is no any civilized matter, or we can say scientific way of disposal of waste. If you can see two pictures are there, these are the heap of animal waste. So these are heap of animal waste is actually stacked along the roadside, on the means approach road, etc., from the inside the village in nearby area. So this can be washed by the rains and flow to the drain, and this can hinder, this can contaminate the groundwater even. And are some surface water bodies are there, then again this can contaminate surface water bodies. So this type of waste transferred once or twice only in a year. So this can also even if we can manage scientifically, we can convert into the compost, and we can use maximum waste can be utilized in our farmland. So here you can see some pictures, like some area animal waste or some garbage, etc., can be dumped here and there in the villages. And some in the rainy season or sometime, you can see one picture here, that this can create a problem for smooth running of the surface drain. They can block the surface drain. So these type of current practices in the villages are we can say in the rural area. And waste generation per gram per capita per day, here you can see one table. Here food waste is about 150 to 375 gram per day per capita in the rural area. Dry waste can be starts from 125 to 350. And in case of animal waste like buffalo, cows, etc., or goats are there, or some we every day sweeping is there, so dry means dust is there. So dust will be start from 250 to 750 gram per capita per day. And from the animal waste approximately 5 gram to 7 gram per day per capita. So it depends on how much means what is the size of that household. So the waste generation may increase. So here you can see the actual generation, which was means estimated by CPCB, and the data compiled in 1 year. This is, we can say, the actual data for 1 year only, but it may increase or decrease in some different year. Okay, so here you can see a snapshot. Total solid generation, total solid waste generation in here in India, about 1,50,000 ton per day. In 1 day we are generating, this is only from the household generation. It is municipal waste, not industrial, not any other commercial. This is from the household. We are generating 1,50,000 tons per day of waste as a solid. So what will happen if population will increase? Or of course it is increasing. Population increasing, then waste generation is increasing. Then what will happen? What the impact exactly? Impact will be, because solid waste needs some area, some land to fill, or we can say to dump it. Then what will happen again? When solid waste generation will increase, the area will also require more and more in coming time. As per our knowledge, we know planet is one. We are means the earth is limited, land is limited, resources are limited, population is increasing, waste is increasing, agricultural land is limited, even decreasing. Then what will happen? Food scarcity will be there. So for the first, immediately we have to reduce our waste from our houses, from our footprint. We need to reduce our footprint, that is known as carbon footprint. If we reduce the carbon footprint, then it can be reduced, means we can reduce some solid waste, or some other area. We can save the energy also as well. So here you can see one example. We have means calculated on the basis of average in the rural area, 0.15, that means 150 kg per person, or we can say 150 gram, not kg, sorry, 150 gram or 0.15 kg per person per capita generation. It is the average only. I said I'm again saying it is average generation from the rural area, while 350 gram or 0.35 kg per person from the urban area, and whole country has 130 kg per person. And in person means all the infant, even all the person. If any household having 5 people, then it can be multiplied by 5. Like if you are in urban area, then and you are living with 5 people, then you can multiply 350 gram into 5. Your waste generation will be this much. And this is not fixed. It can be sometime means we can say 350 gram, sometime it will be 150 gram, sometime it will be 1 kg. So it depends. So because this is the average value, it is estimated for 1 year, then we have to calculate, we have find means, and after this means average, then we have presented this type of value. That means this is this is not actual value. Actual waste generation is more and more. And here second phase, waste collection per day, when we are generating 150,000 or 150 lakh tons per day, that means waste collection is only 90%. That is collection from the sources. Only 1,50,000 ton per day waste to be collected. And from the urban area, it is of course 100%. We cannot dispose in our houses. So from the urban area, it is 100%, but from the rural area, only 20% is waste coming to the at appropriate place, and about 80% is waste. Waste is means we can say here and there. And disposal to the landfill. If you see the scenario, even from the urban area or from the rural area, here you can see whatever we have generated 100%, and it is going to landfill only 44%. So what about 66%? This can you can go to the landfill site, and you can just imagine what is going on, what exactly means we are doing. When we are going to any landfill site, just we are putting our finger on the nose and just passing away from that area. We are not thinking a little bit how, who and how this has been created. We are the reason. We are only generating this type of waste. Due to us, this type of pile or a heap has been generated in our cities. So we have to think in that way. And if we can see Indian scenario, as I said, about 1,50,000, it is the estimate in 2019, like 1,33,000, and after in 2020 it was 1,50,000. Now it is more than that. So these are the data which was presented by CPCB. We have shown here, and it was estimated that approximately, means because the population is increasing, so challenges also are increasing, and waste is projected by 2030. If we see 2030, that will be 165 million, and then if we can estimate to 2050, 2050, then it will be 436 million. So you can just imagine what situation, what type of situations will be created by us due to the waste, unscientific way, or simply we can say generation of waste, because we are not going for recycle, reuse, etc. So here basic principle of this type of waste management, a solid waste management. First, we need to segregate what is recyclable, what is biodegradable, what is non-recyclable, what is non-biodegradable. If we do this type of practice in our houses, then what will happen? I will explain. You can see here I am just stopping myself. One very important thing I want to explain in Hindi, because you need to understand, जो भी हमने इस धरा से लिया है हमें वो वापस करना पड़ेगा. Why? Because whatever we are taking from this earth, we need to pay back, either in other ways. If we are not paying back in the form of compost, in the form of means recyclable biodegradable waste, then we can pay in different way. But we have to pay, because if we are taking the loan from the bank, then what we'll do? We have to repay. The same way we are exploiting the natural resources, then we have to pay, either in different way, either in direct way. So it's up to us that how we are going to pay. So I'm just here to discuss about the basic principles. So basic principles are segregation of biodegradable and recyclable waste at household, or we can say at the source. If we segregate the waste at the source, then impact, you can imagine what is the impact. I said in the previous slide that we are generating approximately 350 gram of waste per person. If we have 5 people, even if we have 2 or 3 people, 1 kg of waste is to be generated from our house, right, every day. And we know that some material is recyclable, some material is biodegradable, some material is non-biodegradable. Then we have to segregate biodegradable, like vegetable peelings, food waste, etc. And we can generate, we can create some sort of facility in houses. Either you are living in the flat, or you are living in means tenement, etc., or you are having a bungalow or house. You can create some sort of facility to create compost from your vegetable peelings, your biodegradable waste, daily basis. How? It is very simple. You have to create this type of facility. We can discuss later on if anyone interested, because we need to generate this type of facility, and one can generate this facility in only 1,000 rupees. It is not more costly, but it requires 3-4 type of batches. For one batch, approximately 1,000 is required. And for means if you have more waste, then you have to create 5 batches minimum. so that you can work for 7 days, because the compost can be converted in 1 month, 30 days to take the to convert into the that waste into the compost, and then compost can be you can sell to the others. Otherwise, if you have plant, then you can use in the plants for the means top as a topsoil as a fertilizer. Okay, so one principle is the segregation. Second, after segregation, we can go for the reuse or recycle. And third is whatever is non-biodegradable, what is not non-recyclable, then we can go for the treatment of that waste, where is means when we can say where is space is because for treatment space is required. So if we community has no space, then we can go for another space where treatment is available, or common treatment facilities are there. And fourth is technology choice, because there are number of technologies available, but different technology had different cost. So depending on your cost, you can choose your technology. So these four things: first is segregation, second is to start reusing, recycling, and third is treatment of waste at some space, because this requires some space, some piece of land, and fourth is technology on the basis of your investment or on the basis of your criteria. Under this management rule 2016, as I said in the previous slide, that all these rules are governed by Ministry of Environment, Forest, Climate Change, MFCC, and we are following 2016 rule. Under this rule, you can see this is the sixth category of waste management. Earlier it was we have plastic waste rule, e-waste rule, biomedical waste rule, C&D is construction demolition waste management rule. So the as per this here you can see hazardous and non-hazardous, or we can say recyclable. We have to segregate. So here we have already provided that which type of household is hazardous, like discarded paint. So we have to segregate in three. One is hazardous waste, biodegradable waste, and recyclable waste. So in three, otherwise we can do three bins should be provided in the houses, and we can put the waste accordingly. Discarded paint, drum paint, pesticide cans, our bulbs, etc., tube lights, our expired medicine, broken mercury thermometer, etc., used battery, or needle, syringe, whatever we are using, or any type of electronic waste. So that can be separated, that can be collected in separate bin. And biodegradable, that can be means can go for compost in house. So that is kitchen waste, food waste, or any type of canteen waste, or plantation waste, sludge, cow dung, or any type of animal excreta. So that can be utilized as a biodegradable in for the composting. And recyclable means you can sell to the scrap vendor. Otherwise, you can also go to the manufacturer under the rule, because here under all these rules, EPR is there. So the whatever the processor or whatever the producer means manufacturer, they have their responsibility to take back their recyclable material or non-biodegradable material. So under that scheme, you can also return back to the manufacturer. Otherwise, you can separate out those waste which is not degradable, and that can be recycled, so that can be sold to the scrap vendor. And under this rule 2016, there are provision like waste if any means one body, society, school, college, university, or hotel, hostel, commercial establishment, market, or places of worship like temple, or any sport complex, or government department, etc., central government department undertaking, etc. So they can have they are under this uh, rule. They have to provide the provision for the collection, segregation, and the
Participants,
treatment.
please mute yourself.
So and for the local body means a municipal corporation, Nagar Nigam, municipal council, Nagar Palika Parishad, municipal boards, Nagar Panchayat, town panchayat, census town, any village, or notified area. So that can be a local body for handling of this rule 2016. And material recovery facility can have this under uh, RDF right? And we can segregate the waste, composite waste, and composite waste can be having a high calorific value, and that is be more than 8. That means 1 kg of waste should have 1500 calorie of energy that can be co-processed, and that can be used as a RDF, means as a fuel in the industry. Like non-biodegradable material is there having 1500 kilocalorie of kg, then that can be used as a combustible material for the fuel in industry. And compost quality, if we see the composting criteria, means which type of when we are generating the waste into the we are converting waste into the compost, then which type of criteria, what type of parameters should be there. Parameters like moisture, particle size, bulk density, organic carbon, and nitrogen phosphate cn ratio should be maintained, as here we have mentioned. Like if we have to compare with the fertilizer control order 2009, then these are the limit. Moisture should be 15 to 25%, not more than that. But particle size, it should be passed through 4 mm sieve. So if particle size there, moisture content is up to 25 or 15 to 25% by weight by weight, then we can use this as a compost under biodegradable waste. And there are four methodologies, four technologies. We can convert the waste by biodegradable waste into the compost. Otherwise, we can go for any biomethanation also. And anaerobic digestion is also there. So for the treatment, first we need to identify which type of waste we are generating, and we have to segregate. After segregating, you can see organic biodegradable waste and organic non-biodegradable waste. If we have organic biodegradable waste, then biochemical routes should be there. Like for composting, we can choose any of one, like vermicomposting, wind drop composting, or wind vessel composting, or biomethanation, or any type of advanced methodology can be utilized for ethanol production or hydrogen production from the waste. And if we have organic non-biodegradable waste, then we can go for the thermal route, like incineration, TSDF, RDF, or pyrolysis or gasification. If we have inorganic, then we can directly use or reuse or recycle into the sanitary landfill. So for the treatment method, as I said in the previous slide, the biodegradable waste is there. So biological treatment like aerobic processes, anaerobic processes are there. Under thermal treatment, incinerations are there, pyrolysis are there, gasification system. For transformation, like thermal transformation by using means that waste can be converted into the, directly as. So, and mechanical transformation is also there. For recyclable material like plastic, paper, glass. So for plastic, plasma pyrolysis technology is there to convert the waste into the RDF, refuse derived fuel. For paper, dissolution, screening, de-inking, sterilization, etc. This type of technologies for paper recycling is technology. And for gas, vitrification technology. For glass recycle, vitrification technology can be utilized. So in case of segregation at source, or we can say from the household and door to door collection by the municipality. So you can see here two pictures. In our houses, at least two bins or three bins to be provided, that we can we can segregate the wet waste and dry waste. Here you can see it is written in Gujarati language that bhino kachro and sukho kachro, means the dry waste and the wet waste. So at the source in the houses only we have to segregate. And when this type of door-to-door collection facility is coming to our houses, then they have the bin system also. They have separate segregated system, dry waste and wet waste. So they immediately, as per the color code, immediately they will just drain out in that particular section. And for recyclable material, in case of houses in the villages, small villages, so in small villages where door-to-door collection facility is not available, then what they can do, they can just make some type of small, like here you can see in the second picture that in one village they have started this type of facility. They have just created this type of bin. That's permanent bin, of course, but the waste they have just segregated at source, like recyclable material, plastic bottles, or we can say the glass, broken glass, etc. Or sometime means bulbs, etc. So here the wet waste, or we can say the biodegradable waste, can be utilized for biogas generation also, or sometime that can be also utilized ethanol production, because everyone knows waste means the fruit, etc. They have a very high content of starch and sucrose. So immediately that can be converted into the ethanol method. So biogas methanation can be means done at in the villages. And few challenges to achieve when we are going for biomethanation or this type of recyclable material, etc. Then we can achieve the zero waste or zero landfill. Why zero landfill? Zero landfill means we are not disposing our waste to the landfill. If we are not sending any waste, even 1 gram of waste is not sending to the landfill, that means our society is zero landfill, right? Three technologies or three terminologies there. One is zero landfill, zero waste, and zero liquid discharge. Three terms are there. Zero landfill means the society or the city is having this type of technology, this type of management facility. They are not disposing their waste without outside the premises or to the landfill. That society, that city, that means area is said to be zero landfill. And zero waste means the industrial premises or any area which is not generating any waste. They are just utilizing the waste as for different purposes. That is zero waste. And zero liquid discharge means any premises, any industrial establishment who are generating waste as a liquid, but they are recycling, they are reusing their waste within the premises. They are not disposing a drop of liquid or wastewater from their premises. So that is ZLD system. So here zero landfill, the goals of this one is the, because when we are working for segregation, etc., then resin gloves are there, leather items are there, and many time foam we are having, styrofoam, etc., glass fiber material, coated or wax papers are there, sanitary napkins are there, snacks and noodle covers are there, window panes, many things are there that cannot be recycled at once. So for that purpose, we need some type of different technology like gasification, plasma pyrolysis, etc. So that have a means higher capex. Then what we can do for the society? We cannot do. We can go for the landfill site or some other gasification system or common treatment facility. So here you can see, starts from baseline evaluation. First, we need to audit our waste. How and what? How means how much of the waste to be generated from that area and what type of waste is generated. Because as I said in the start of the section, this lecture, that for the solution we need to find the problem first. For solution of treatment or disposal of solid waste, we need to find which type of waste we are generating, and we need to segregate that source, because different society, even different sources had different type of waste. As I said in the when started lecture about the waste, that we have different sources. Industrial establishments, that industrial waste; from the hospital, that is biomedical waste; from the houses or residential buildings, we have municipal waste. That means different waste are there from the different sources. So first we need to identify under the waste audit by door-to-door survey on waste generation by groups, current source of collection practices, current central infrastructure facilities available on the site, or current disposal practices. Then we have to go for characterization. Characterize means exactly composition of the waste. What is the composition of waste at source where the waste is to be generated? Then sometime when it is transported from one place to another place, then it will be combined. Sometime it will be combined or mixed together. So then what is the combined waste composition? Then we have to go for third one, that is economic value of that waste. If they have a high calorific value, that I said in the previous, that if we have 1500 kilogram high calorific value, more than 1500 calorific value, then we can go for the RDF. We can utilize under co-processing by taking permission under Rule 9 from CPCB under EPA Act. Then immediately that waste can be utilized as a RDF. Otherwise, if we do not have this type of then non-recyclable material, then we can go for plasma gasification, etc. If recyclable material is there, then we can do two things. One, by scrap vendor, we can sell to the scrap vendor. Otherwise, we can send this material to the authorized recycler. Authorized recyclers are actually authorized recyclers are those person who has taken permission, taken consent from SPCB. SPCB is State Pollution Control Board, from, we can say, where the establishment is established. Like if you are in Uttar Pradesh, then they have to take consent from the Uttar Pradesh Pollution Control Board. Means respective State Pollution Control Board granting the consent for the recycling after inspection of proper technology and infrastructure. So those those facilities are known as authorized recyclers. So then we can means sell to the authorized recycler. We can send our waste to authorized recyclers. We means the industrial establishment, any industry or hospital or any type of institution, colleges, universities, or because this is applicable to all the type of facility, which is we have already discussed in the previous slide, that hospitals, guest houses, residential building, or industrial canteens, industrial establishment, university, any type of building, those a person who are generating the waste under municipal waste, under solid hazardous waste, under biomedical waste, so they need to regulate under that rule. Then they have to take this type of they consent, or they have to send their waste to the authorized recyclers. Then here you can see after coming to the last one, economic value, we know that how much value of that, is it recyclable or not, this is for to be utilized for RDF or not. Then we can develop the conceptual plan. Conceptual plan means for the project establishment. If we start the treatment facility, then we have to first, as I said, one, we have to go for the waste audit, waste characterization, that is baseline evaluation. Then second one is establishment of design basis. For the design basis, we need to conceptualize that for the waste. One is source segregation, immediate collection facility, then minimum central segregation facility in the vicinity. Then we have to go for household hazardous waste management practices, whatever type of in existence. Then we have to go for waste processing, economic values, and disposing the recyclable agencies. We need to identify who are the recyclers, who are the authorized recyclers or agencies available in the vicinity. We cannot choose any other the recyclable or authorized recyclable from other state. We have to search the facility or recyclers within immediate vicinity, or if not available, then we have to go to the nearest one. Then we have to manage non-recyclable. If non-recyclable, then we have to go either in-house facility or for the common facility. In-house facility means we need to generate this type of treatment facility, and common facility means the authorized person who are providing this type of facility to treat and dispose the waste. Then under this design basis, we need to go for environment and economic impact analysis, because when we are thinking about treatment of the waste, are not only waste, when we are thinking about to establish any type of establishment, either a factory, a manufacturing unit, or company, or service sector, etc., then we have to think about the first one is the carbon footprint and the infrastructure availability. Like if you are selling something, then you need to identify the customers first, right? For that purpose, we have to identify the environment and economic impact analysis, like carbon footprint saving, like energy saving, material availability, avoidance of land contamination, or environmental liability. So we have to select the site, appropriate site where we can start the treatment facility. So it should be not near the any river or within minimum 1 kilometer distance, or any pond or any type of water body, because when you are going for means treatment facilities to establish for the solid waste management, then what will happen? Leaching will be there. Due to this leaching, contamination, groundwater contamination, or we can say the surface water contamination may happen. So we should avoid this type of sites. Then we have to develop project report. We have to prepare a feasibility report for the collection facility, for the storage, for the segregation. Then we have to create some standard operating procedure, like how we have to collect the sample, how we have to dispose the sample, we have to do which type of methodology we have to adopt. So this type of report should be prepared before going to establish any type of treatment facility. And for composting, if we are going for composting, then as I said in the previous slide, that size is required. Minimum for 4 CV is required, like lower feed size 3 to 6, and CN ratio is most important, 20 to 30. It should be maintained. Lower value is 20 and higher value is 30. And fat and oil and grease, two important thing, FOGs. So in under this composting, for external bioculture can be added to improve the fats and oil grease. And moisture content can be, in case of waste, it can be more than 60 to 70, but for the compost or converting into the compost manure, then it should be 20 to 30. And temperature for composting temperature is 35 to 55 degrees Celsius to be maintained. Here you can see some examples, some pictures are there. Some township residential area who have started the treatment composting in their premises, and they have already started this type of facility, and they are selling their waste to others. Here you can see this is one biomethanation. Of course, many people visited this type of facility in villages or in some area where the means biogas generation plant, biogas plants are there. So here you can see when we are entering a waste of 1000 kg per day on wet basis. If 1000 kg means 1 ton, if we have 1 ton of food waste or kitchen waste for biomethanation, a biogas plant, then this should be first grinded into the feed size. Feed size is 3 through 6, and then it should be passed through a fresh hot water stream to make a slurry under slurry preparation tank, and then it should go to the biogas holding balloon. Here some thermophile rapid anaerobic digester is there, and it for the retention period is 10 days. Retention period holding means holding period, so it can be retained for 10 days. And there one more tank should be provided, that is stabilization. So here you can see above the schematic diagram, and in the lower part you can see the actual diagram. And in 1 ton you can see 1 ton, when we are means feeding 1 ton of the waste, we have to generate about 100 meter cube per day, or we can say 70 kg per day methane gas. That is suffice for we can say 18, which is equals to 18,000 liter of fuel oil per annum. And here you can see this also, when we are feeding 1000 kilogram, then manure can be generated on the dry basis 300 kilogram. So we have to generate two things. One is the biogas, or we can say methane, and second one is the manure. Here under the biomethanation, factors are, first is you can see nutrient content should be CN ratio should be 30 to 1. Solid concentration should be with 12% with 8% of volatiles, and temperature should maintain at 15 to 35 degrees Celsius. Retention period for whole, retention period for this stabilization tank is only 10 days. But whole methanation plant, because every time we need to retain for some time, so total time period is 1 month to 2 months. Then pH for whole process to be maintained at 6.6 to 8, and some substances like insecticide, pesticide, heavy metals. Sometimes we have detergent, phenyl, Dettol, etc. These are harmful for gas generation, so we should avoid this type of toxic substances. And for the means material, because here the manure cake in the form of cake, it will be generate. So we need to just we need to chop and grind that cake for manure, and that can be mixed with some by using digester, etc. Then that cake can be utilized as a manure in the farmland or in our garden, etc. So here I'm just showing one website on my screen. You can see the website Bhabha Atomic Research Center. So why it is here you can see one scientist, Mr. Dr. Sarad Kale, who has started this type of biomethanation gas plant for their canteen waste. It means every institute, every university, etc. They have canteen, right? So the web means video is available. I have not here I am not showing the video due to the time constraint, because the video is of 1 hour, so we cannot play here. But immediately you can type on Google. You will find the video. Here you can see Nisar Gun. Nisar Gun biogas plant. It is in Bhabha Atomic Research Center, developed by Dr. Sarad Kale. And the story behind this whole plant is in this Bhabha Atomic Research Center, they are generating their gas on the daily basis without having any investment as of now. Means of course approximately 5 to 10 lakh required as a capex, but when it started working, then whatever is the left over, or we can say the food waste is there and vegetable peelings are there, from that only they have to generate a suffice amount of methanation by this biogas plant or as a fuel, means to cook the food. Every day they are cooking the food without from their methanation plant only. So that is very good example model. And also they have taken patent on this type of technology, which can be taken from this Bhabha Atomic Research Center in only 25,000 rupees. And otherwise you can have if you do not have this type of technology, then we can help you out. If anyone interested to develop the zero effluent, zero waste discharge, here you can see on the website it is available on if you see this website, immediately you can see the overview how they are managing their kitchen waste, their household waste, or we can say the municipal waste, to generate the manure, to generate the waste, compost and biogas. So here the zero effluent, zero waste is we can say this type of unit is there. So under the yard, we can generate the compost in our houses. As I said, that we can generate the compost. We can convert our waste into the we can means our waste can be converted into the compost in our houses at very low cost. Even start from 1,000 rupees to 10,000 rupees, depending on the type of how much waste we are generating. So here for the composting at large scale, so air assisted windrow yard composting, waste composting. In that case, we need to, because for you must aware about the microorganism. Microorganisms are of two type. One is aerobic and anaerobic. Here we are using aerobic bacteria. So for the degradation of that complex material into the simpler one, we need some bacteria, aerobic bacteria. So for aerobic, the growth of aerobic bacteria, we need aeration. So here a blower is provided, and from this blower the air is coming to this pipe and air. So you can see here less air provided at this end, and more air is provided at this land. Then recyclable facility. Recyclable can be of two type. One is manual and automated. Manual means by person we need to segregate the material recyclable or non-recyclable. Then this can be sent to by hand picking. Visually identifiable waste can be reused. But in case of semi-automated, like we can use unloading of waste, mechanized method, loading of waste by conveyor belt. That is also mechanized method, but hand picking of visibly identifiable waste on the belt. Otherwise, we can use magnets for the means like iron, etc. So that can be separated out when we are using belt conveyors for the waste. So here are some examples like how we need to create the facility. And here you can see the segregation of waste in different picture. You can see the segregation of waste manually doing before going to the landfill. And these are the semi-automated material recovery facility, means material recyclable facility. Like this is the one screen, a trommel screen. There is a hopper, a conveyor belt. Here you can see the conveyor belt, and these are the stacked, like some cases are there, etc. So that can be stacked in one, and that can be utilized as a MRF recyclable facility that can be sent. So, and here one typical layout for a material recycling facility when we need to create this type of facility. So what type of things are required? So we need to create a facility for everything like plastic and paperboard, glass, cloth racks, etc. Dry waste handling material area, other non-recyclable area. Here you can see the hazardous waste, wood material, e-waste. Means separate areas should be provided for separate waste. Individual or dedicated separate spaces to be provided for different type of waste. For means if we see we'll look into the financial contribution also, because when we are talking about the infrastructure or anything to be established, then financial contributions will be there. Then we have to just classify, or we need to calculate how much amount to be incurred in this type of facility to be established. So here you can see for municipal solid waste generation treatment facility, first we need to calculate in four terms. One is source segregation, transit waste collection means transportation, then material recovery facility, and we have to go for the restoration. So these four, capex and opex. Capex means the capital and opex means the operation cost. So first we need to calculate the capex cost for machinery, for personnel, for land area, and for civil cost, for other materials, watch, etc., and lightning, energy requirement, etc. So we need to calculate in that way. And after calculating, here you can see if we are going for means one very we can say 1,000 how the waste from the industrial township or one township having 1,000 houses, then capex will be we can say we need to calculate. We are not going from our we are not taking the money from our pocket, but we need to take some loan from the bank. Then here the interest will be there, right? Total capex is approximately 97 lakh. Here you can see the interest on that whatever you have taken, it is estimated per year is 10 lakh. So, and manpower cost, because here in treatment facility, major important hurdle is the manpower. Because every time we need separate manpower to handle the waste, right? So for that purpose, here 75 lakhs per year is to be estimated for 1,000 household waste for any time township. And for the non-recyclable, etc., 2 lakhs is there. For the energy, etc., operation cost is 10 lakh. So total will be like 97 lakh. But if if you create this type of facility, then how much you are going to create a wealth? So here you can see sellable material like recyclable material, etc., from the kitchen waste or from the green waste, from the biomethanation. So against 97, we are generating 122 lakh per year. It is the estimation of 1 year only, right? So in this case also we are having net saving of 25 lakh per annum. Means it is not a bad idea if we can create this type of facility in some sort of piece of land nearby vicinity where thousands or approximately thousands houses are there. Then we can make money also, and we can give the employment to the persons also. So in that way, we can say we can see two things may be fulfilled. Now we are coming to hazardous waste. In the hazardous waste, first we need to identify what is the hazardous waste. Okay, so I think time is up. We'll complete this session very fast in next 10 to 15 minutes, right? So the hazardous waste main characteristic of this hazardous waste will be ignitability, reactivity, toxicity, and corrosivity. So in Indian scenario, if we see that we have already discussed about the solid waste, in the same way, their hazardous waste is to be estimated by means 4.4 million tons in India. And the classification of this hazardous waste in basically in four lists, but majorly here three lists are there. One is non-specific source. When any hazardous waste is done coming from non-specific source, that can be said as a under F list. And if we have any specific source industrial processes, then that can be said as a under K list. And under means any like chemical product or commercial discarded product of specification chemical or pesticide, etc. So that can be taken under P and U list. So these are four list of hazardous waste. And sources like powder industry, metallurgical industry, chemical industry, mining industry, power industry, thermal power industry, oil chemical industry. These are the major sources. And the code, color code, black for the sulfide. If any hazardous material having sulfide, then color code of bin should be black. And if any bacterial decomposition of wastewater, then color should be dark gray. And wastewater less than 6 are to be retained, then that color should for that area should be light brown. And for the plastic, you can see means symbols are there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 now under 2016. Before 2016, the different symbol were utilized, but now it is utilized in 1, 2, 3, 4 with the three recyclable symbols. And short name is also there, but for the different type of scientific name, like PET is polyethylene tetraphthalate, and SDP, PVC, LDP, PP, PS, and O for others. So hazardous waste can be different type on the basis of characteristic, as I said, listed waste like K, L, F, P, U are mixed waste person. For a management of industrial waste, here first we need to identify which type of manufacturing source are sources of that waste. Then we have to go for the type of policy available. Yeah. Someone is speaking. Okay.
No, sir, you can continue.
Okay. So we have to identify which type of policy are there for this type of industrial waste management, because under the previous slide we have said that now we have to follow and hazardous waste management rule 2016. So now it is applicable whole India. Then we have to identify which rule to be followed. Then we have to go for the suitable technology and availability of that material in piece of land up in the vicinity. So what are the basic methods for treatment? Three treatment methods are there: physical, chemical, and second with thermal, and third one is the biological. So under the means this type of filtration separation, physical man means by physical appearance, by the segregation method or separation method. Chemical precipitation also is there, like source of waste containing metals or metal plating or polishing or inorganic pigments or mining or electronic industry, or sometimes hazardous waste containing metal like lead, chromium, etc. That can be contaminate the groundwater also. Then oxidation, redox potential is there, like some reactions can be utilized in treatment of metal bearing waste, sulfide, cyanide, chromium, etc. So on the basis of type of source and type of characteristic, like fourth one is solidification, hazardous waste management, solidification and stabilization. Like they can be utilized for the type of mobility of pollutant available in the waste. And evaporation, this type of process utilized in the treatment of hazardous waste when any flexible or means sludge or slurry or aqueous waste is available, because evaporation can happen in the liquid form only. So we can utilize this technology or this type of process when aqueous forms of waste available. So for biological treatment, one is the land treatment, like landfill compared to the other disposal facility that can be easily available. But a major disadvantage is the piece of land, huge area is required. For composting, this is the most important and of course most utilized technology and effective technology is composting. Then anaerobic treatment that can be also utilized. We have some thermal treatment like incineration, means jala dena. Pyrolysis, of course, application of pyrolysis to the hazardous waste treatment lead to two major steps. One is waste are to be heated by using combustible gases, water vapors, and second step is to means for the volatile compound to be burned. For incineration, we have some pro and cons. In case of here you can say pro, like first major advantage of incineration is means converting into the ash, means volume to be reduced at up to 10%. So major advantage is the land area is required very few. So dependency on the landfill is very less. And in this case, saving on transportation can happen. Byproduct can be generated and can be utilized for to generate the electricity as a waste heat recovery system, WHR system, and this can avoid the uncontaminated groundwater. But here disadvantages are also there because this is very costly or very expensive. So and during the incineration, many noxious gases are there like dioxin, furan, etc. These are the carcinogenic gases. So that can be generated during the this incineration. In case of landfill, of course, advantage is very convenient. Anyone can utilize. But a major disadvantage is toxic waste continue to pile up. Means it also require a huge area, and also methane, which is again means we can say this is 36 times more effective than CO2. It is the methane gas is a potent greenhouse gas. So these are major disadvantages. And for the issues here, you can see first amount of fuel used by trash truck. That is the one issue. Order control during the management of waste. Order control, of course, stress attract animal also. And then we sometimes we have a problem to face the separation of trash and recycling, composting of waste, littering the control on offsite, reducing amount of waste generation, recycling the electronics, or we can say we are going for zero waste or not. So these are some issues. And now we'll discuss about the biomedical waste facility. Biomedical waste, as I said, from the hospitals, from the dispensaries, etc., that can be generated. And there are two type of source: major source and minor source. On the basis of if you see the classification of biomedical, so major classification is hazardous and non-hazardous. But on the WHO classification here, pathological waste, chemical waste, general waste, radioactive waste, infectious waste, produced from pharmaceutical, produced from dispensary, separate aerosol waste, etc. And the color here, five type of colors for the biomedical waste, like black. Black is for solid chemical waste, can be go for incineration. White is for the sharp utensils, like this can go for sterilization only. And red color is used for recycled waste, that go for microwave autoclaving. And yellow color to be utilized for human waste, that can go for pyrolysis or incinerator only. And blue color for vials or ampoules, that can be autoclaved or hydrochlore. Here you can see in some small incinerator is there for to be utilized for biomedical incineration, and here a hydrochlore system is there for some materials like sharp utensils, etc. So under this biomedical waste management, here thermal, mechanical, chemical, biological, and irradiation processes are available. And treatment and storage disposal facility for incineration, that is the combustion of the waste at some site where the waste converted into the ash. And major issue during the combustion or incineration is the dioxin and furan gases, which is to be generated during the incineration process of biomedical waste. Now, 3-4 slides about the some sustainable practices. Like we need to reduce the carbon footprint. for every means entity or industrial establishment, even for the coal-based power plant. Because before discussing about carbon footprint of any industrial establishment, first we need to understand that what is the carbon footprint. Carbon footprint exactly whatever is we are using the resources or any type of entity for survival on this planet in one day. That is our then we have to calculate for 1 year. So whole energy to be consumed in 1 year for to sustain on this planet Earth, that is carbon footprint. So in the same way, we are also we are in need of the energy. So energy is coming from the coal-based thermal power plants or hydropower plants. So energy demand, you can see 33 gigawatt we have already in our India. Yeah, someone is speaking, right?
Participant, mute yourself.
Participants,
Karthikeya, mute yourself.
participant, please mute yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Then the fly ash also, which is generated from thermal power, that can be also utilized, or we can say it can be recycled back. Like in case of the fly ash is a raw material for cement industry, which is generated from thermal power. So the thermal power has waste as a fly ash, but cement industry is having a raw material of as a fly ash. So that can be mixed with lime, gypsum to make the cement. So and also the brick manufacturer also utilizing the fly ash nowadays. So this fly ash should not be disposed in unscientific way. That can be utilized as raw material for some other industry. And agro residue as means agro means from generating from the agriculture industry. So this agro residue can also utilized as in the form of briquettes, etc., for fuel in the industry. So that is also availability of power. And we can utilize some biotechnological tool for organic waste converting into the compost using phytoremediation, or using biomethanation, bioethanol production, or bioremediation. Because bioremediation is the type of technology or process where we can immediately degrade the complex compound into the simpler one. And it is of course feasible. Sometimes many people are saying that bioremediation is not feasible. Yes, of course it is feasible, but it need a very high sophisticated type of expertise. And of course space is required, sophistication is required, high skill is required. Then you can do bioremediation for any type of liquid waste. Bioremediation also applicable for solid waste, for even for the gaseous waste. Even primary, secondary, tertiary treatment, we can do biological treatment also. And one concept is eco-friendly or environment-friendly technology, that are known as EFT. And here four type of eco-friendly technology or environment-friendly technology that use environment-friendly mechanism. They should use very, means in efficient manner of natural resources. They should preserve or protect the environment. They should maintain the ecosystem, and that should be follow the sustainable development. Because we have only two type of energy, renewable or non-renewable. So any type of energy and technology who is having means passing on three of five criteria, that is known as EFT. Like the CIAL is the Cochin International Airport, which is the means India's world we can say world's first 100% solar powered airport. Here you can see the pictures of this airport. This is the only one airport in whole world which is running on 100% solar powered. They are not using any grid power, coal power, hydropower, etc. They are running on only solar power. So this type of technology are known as eco-friendly or environment-friendly. So we need to think about this type of technology. And plastic waste, of course, this is another big mess. But now we are using, even under the plastic management rule 2016, now you are also using some biodegradable polymers are there. So these biodegradable polymers are most important thing to replace the plastic waste or non-biodegradable plastic waste. So we have to use this type of, and wastewater can be utilized in agriculture, but in safe manner, because agriculture is the actually, because they require fresh water. But now, and wastewater is increasing from the industry. So sometime after some primary and secondary treatment, the wastewater is to be utilized in agriculture, but it should be in safe manner after means removing the BOD, COD, etc. Because agriculture practices are most important to sustain the world, even not only our health. It is important to means others' health also. So here 8 Rs are there, like refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle, recover, and some technology like cleaner production. We should have a minimum use of natural resources. We should practice about rainwater harvesting. It should be practiced by everyone, not for the industry only. We should use organic waste composting in our society. It is not feasible for a house, but it can be feasible for society, or one small mohalla type of. So because the capital cost start from 5 lakh, so in 5 lakh is not a big cost. So in one society having 15 to 20 houses, then they can operate from 5 lakh rupees. Your waste can be converted into the compost, and compost can be utilized in your farmland or garden. Otherwise, you can sell, as we have already seen in the previous slide, that some societies are they are selling their compost to the farmlands. And zero liquid discharge, as I said, zero liquid discharge is also a good type of practice where we need to maintain. And also one green belt development, that is also known as green cover. Like industry should develop 33% of total plot area as a green belt, or we can say as a plantation. And in the previous slide also discussed about zero waste. We have a third one book on zero waste, that is management practices for environmental sustainability, published by Taylor and Francis. It is available on Google Book. Full book is available on Google Book, so you may read here. And very in simple language, we have elaborated how we can reach the zero waste goal. The goal of zero waste mainly maximize the recycling, minimize the waste, reduce the consumption, ensure product are made to be recycled, or to be repaired, or to be reused, and purchase some sustainable products. Because this zero waste system can save the energy, can save the transportation, can means even processing, and this can eventually save the landfill. So thank you very much. I think time was it's 3:43. So sorry for the more time.
No,
to
no,
take.
so, sir,
Yes.
No,
it's a
sir.
wonderful session. Nitin sir,
Sir,
over to Nitin sir.
thank you very much, sir. It was a quite wonderful session, and you have covered all the types of waste, which is nowadays a very large problem in our country and around the world. Sir, we have certain questions which has been asked by the participants, so I will take it one by one.
Yes,
Sir,
please.
Ministha Mukherjee asked, sir, why segregation at source is not legally enforced in our country?
See, this is not a fact that it is not legally enforced. It is, of course, legal, and it is provided under the act. But can we think about any type of act when it is legally enforced? Any person, even not government, can come to your house, and someone is to be said that you have to segregate. It was said in the act, it was said in the rules, it was said in the papers. We as a educated people, we as a means literate people, we need to understand our responsibility. It should not be like means dande se kaam chalega, aisa nahi. We are literate people, right? We have to understand the exactly what act, what rule is there. Rule is there to segregate at source, but we are denying. Then who will take care of your health, or your vicinity? So it's our responsibility. It is already there, but by hook or nook, it cannot be done, because we are free citizen in free country, so it cannot be.
Sir, one more question is there. It is by Mayank Kundu. Any specific technology to segregate plastic waste from a mixture of waste?
From a mixture of.
waste. Separation of plastic waste from mixture of waste.
See, yeah, someone is talking in between, I
Yeah,
think.
Rakesh Khanna.
Rakesh sir, please.
Please mute for some time, then you can talk.
Yeah, I'm muted.
See, for plastic waste segregation, only hand picking, we can say two technologies are there. One is manual method. Under manual method, by hand picking, one can easily segregate. Another one is semi-automated, where some hoppers are provided with that with type of hoppers. They have type of means gravity based. Some waste can be means some plastic waste can be segregated, but in that way 100% segregation is not feasible. So even after semi-automated, manual method can be applied. We
Sir,
have
Sorry to
already
interrupt. Could you say the name for the method if possible?
means I'm not getting your question exactly. Semi-auto method and hand picking means that technology. Hand picking means by using your hand. Manpowers are there to pick the waste from the mixture, because this should be passed through the belt. Conveyor belt is there. On that conveyor belt, the plastic waste to be segregated manually. I think. Hello.
Yeah, there has been one more question from audience side.
Okay.
Nitin sir,
yes sir.
would you like to announce that question?
Please tell me some source for getting authentic data on biomedical waste generation.
Yeah, I think see in the start of lecture, I has shown one slide, and also because this was a major issue when we are taking the literature, when we are procuring any type of information. So first important thing, we need to procure the right information. And for that purpose, we have shown some link and one website, that is CPCB, Central Pollution Control Board, is the apex body in India who is providing authentic source, authentic information on every waste, every pollution, etc. So you have to just download these rules, act, etc. on the biomedical, not only biomedical, hazardous waste, biomedical waste, C&D waste, that is construction debris waste, municipal waste, plastic waste, e-waste. All type of waste regulations are available on CPCB website. We have shown the presentation also. If you are not able, then I can again show that slide. You can see, because sometimes we are means having some confusion that which is the authentic source exactly. So here it is. Can you show? Can you see this screen?
Yeah,
Yeah,
screen
sir.
is coming.
Yeah.
cpcb.nic.in.
So this is
Introduction has
the
been written over there.
cpcb.nic.in. Here
Yeah,
you can see
now
I
it's
have
coming.
highlighted under the waste management. Here hazardous waste, municipal solid waste, biomedical waste, plastic waste, e-waste. All the rules and regulation, including Act, are available on this site.
Sir, there is one more question. Which is the best method for sanitary pad disposal?
Which is the best method for?
Sanitary pad disposal.
See, this comes under the biomedical actually. And for sanitary incineration, plasma gasification, two technologies are there. But means nowadays only incineration is to be utilized. Incineration means biomedical treatment facility at incineration system, that is also known as TSDF. But this is not coming under TSDF as per the sector of NABET. So this separate NABET has declared with the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, the separate section, separate section sector is there, biomedical waste facility, that is known as incineration. Means एक simple way we can say जलाना ही एक perfect method है.
Sir, one last question is there. How to choose between composting or biomethanation for biodegradable waste?
See, it depends on the moisture content first and type of means your choice. If you are going for biomethanation, huge quantity of waste is required. As I said in the slide, that minimum 1,000 household waste is required for biomethanation. But for composting, you can start with your house. So it's perfect choice, like how much waste is available, then we can go for that. So immediately you can choose one, like composting, or we are going for methanation, because biomethane require a piece of land also. But in composting, a small piece of land is required. Even in the houses, we can start with the buckets. So with the means 1,000 rupees of investment. But in case of biomethanation, it requires 1 crore at least. So it depends on the cost, choice, and space.
Any other question from participant side?
Anyone willing to have any other questions? May I ask right now? I guess there is no more questions, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah,
Yes.
if there is no more question.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. You have given a very vast presentation here, sir, and it is very understandable too. The way of presentation is very easy, sir, and everybody can understand it very well.
And I would like to thank Dr. Ashok Rathore, sir. He was very kind enough to accept my invitation while I approached him. And it was very learning session conducted by you to all the participants, including our whole of our team. Thank you very much for presenting your technical knowledge and expertise, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
a lot.
Thank you
Thanks a
very
lot.
much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
And for participants, there is an announcement that we'll be having another day by tomorrow, and the day will be starting by 10 a.m. with the technical session 1, 2, and 3, like for the same duration and same time. The program schedule and the speaker list has already been sent to you over mail. Kindly check for detailed schedule over there. And in case if any queries there, you may contact directly to us over WhatsApp or mail. Thank you very much. Yes,
Thanks a
should
lot.
we end this session now?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. End the session.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.